somebody that's going to have a massive impact on you, just with what he has to share. There's Mr. Bruce. Let me unmute you, buddy. There's Mr. Bruce. How are you, Bruce?
Hey, there we go. Doing well, Zach. How you doing, buddy? I love the beard, man. You just keep getting better looking.
Hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it. I'll take it. So guys, look, I shared a little bit earlier. I met Bruce. We were out educating and helping people all over this country, and I got to meet Bruce during that time. And one thing that I caught on real quick was his passion for building wealth and helping others build wealth was right in line with me. We just connected right off. I knew he was a super smart guy. He's been in the real estate and the stock space since the 80s. So that just gives it, you got 40 years this guy's been out here kicking butt for his own portfolios, whether it be stock or real estate, and helping others do it too. And so, like I was sharing with you guys, on doing it from Zoom, it's a little easier for me to go grab big hitters like Bruce and bring them on here versus saying, hey, can you fly to Alabama?
Although for you, I would do it, Zach.
Because I always get, what's in Alabama? Like, well, I'm here. So I'm very fortunate that we have him. I mean, Bruce is, our energy is so in line. I mean, he's a family guy first. Everything else is second for him, the same as myself. I mean, he really understands the power of leverage. And you guys need to listen to him on this. And really, he digs into personal growth, just like myself and so many other highly successful people out there. And he wants to give back. But one of the cool things that you'll learn about Bruce is that he actually, for 2 years, had his own TV show on the largest Chinese TV station there is. Yes, he is bilingual, which I'm sure helps him amazingly in the world of raising money and all the other cool stuff out there. But you know what? I could go on and on about Bruce. I really just want you guys to get a clean sheet of paper right now and just listen to what Bruce has to say when it comes to the mindset of thinking like the rich, and what are the best moves you could be making right now, and what he's done to get to where he's at. I mean, this is something that we have a blessing to have him on here. Not too many of us out there can say, hey, we got a good friend that owns and runs a hedge fund that invests millions and millions of dollars, right? And it just keeps growing for him. He keeps attracting more and more investors because he's good at what he does. And so, Bruce, with that said, I would love for you to share your screen with us. If I can just stop sharing my screen, and then you can share your screen.
You got it. So before I do that, I think it's important to realize, because I get a lot of, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, Zach, and the rest of your members. I get a lot of questions. People see the lifestyle that I live in, I have now, and where I live and the community I live in, and they say, man, what is it like to have that type of money? But I didn't come from money, and that's what people have to understand. I've been in Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area for a number of years now, since 1976. I've traveled all over the world, but I started off as a when I graduated from high school, I started off as a post letter carrier for the United States Postal Service, carrying mail. I did that for 5 years. And then when I hit 21, I became a police officer. And I did all my 20s were spent as a police officer for the city of Fremont here in California. So I grew up in that environment, Zach, like a lot of other folks do, where the mindset is, hey, the more you work, the more hours you put in, the more money you're going to make. And the average person looks at money in a linear fashion, and we look at money in a non-linear fashion, where I'm always looking for ways to say, and that's what I love about investing, whether it's in the stock market, which is my huge passion, real estate as well. It's ability to be able to not put in the hours and get paid on the hours. You're putting in the hours, don't get me wrong, but you're not paid per hour. You're paid per project. You're paid per project that you're doing. You want to make bigger money, you focus on bigger projects. So it's quite that simple. And people will always say, it's complex, it's complicated making money. It's not complicated. It's actually very simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple. So I'm going to go through a couple of things here. And Zach asked me to speak, so I wanted to go ahead and prepare something, because I have a habit, as you can probably gather, on talking very, very fast. So I wanted to put together some slides and really talk about, instead of talking about the stock market, which is my passion, running a hedge fund, or talking about real estate, which I'm heavy into real estate as well, I want to talk more about something that you could walk away from and really feel that, wow, these are kind of like the golden nuggets, no matter what business you're into, and that's money principles. So people are always asking, how do you get wealthy? And it comes down to really understanding money principles. So when we take a look at this, the topics I want to hit on today is going to be how the rich think, how we think differently than the rest of the world. And there's a big difference. There's some subtle differences in some cases, and in other cases there's some drastic differences. So I'm going to go through that. I also want to cover key principles, key money principles. I've come up with 11 key principles, because I started thinking about that when Zach asked me to speak. I thought, let me put down some of the key things that really drive me and how I think about money, because I think about money very, very differently than your average person, and I manage millions of millions of dollars in my fund. When it comes down to building a business, here I put down building a money machine in your sleep, but really it's about building a machine that's relentless and tireless on making money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can do that in real estate, you can do it in the stock market, you can do it with the Amazon business, but it's important about making that shift to think about, how do you put your money to work? And the last thing I want to talk about is what the best investment is right now, because people are always asking me that. What's the best investment you can possibly make right now? So I'll hit on that as well. So let's talk about kind of how the rich think and how we think differently. And much like what Zach said, it does start with the mindset, and also how you view the world. And I put down here some examples of current examples about what we're going through. So when COVID-19 hit and we had this pandemic, and there's mandates, and I know it's happened all around the country. It's happened in our backyard, and it affected my wife's business, where they said you gotta shut down. You cannot no longer operate your business. And she runs a beauty salon, specializes in wigs for cancer patients and women and men with thinning hair. And I'll talk about I'll use that as an example about how she pivoted and how she changed her business model, where now she's making more than what she made before COVID-19 hit. But it's a matter of being able to be able to pivot and think differently. And this is what I mean when I say it starts with the mindset, and it starts with how you view the world. You look at things and you say to yourself, okay, I see a challenge, but are you going to sit there and say, man, there's nothing I can do? The government's saying I have to go ahead and close down my shop. Business is coming to a screeching halt. If that is what your mindset goes to, that's what your reality becomes, and that's a fact. But if you take a look at it and say, wait a minute now, I see that there's an opportunity here. There's a challenge, and this is how we get paid, right? We take a look at the problem, and we take a look at saying, let me come up with a solution that adds tremendous value to the world. And the bigger the bigger the problem, the bigger the solution, the bigger the paycheck. So a good friend of mine, his name is Dan Klein, very well known in terms of internet marketing. He has made millions of dollars, and I'm talking about just not over the years. I'm talking about in a short period of time, being able to pivot, being able to take a look and recognize that he said, COVID-19 hit. What's the big need? Well, the big need at that time, and still really kind of is the mask, and being able to have the alcohol. That was a shortage of alcohol to be able to go ahead and rub on your hands and whatnot. And he went ahead and set up shop where he was selling those products that met the needs of the community. And not only did he sell to consumers, he got government contracts. He didn't have any connections before, but he found a way. So it's that old saying about where there's a will, there's a way. But you first have to be able to recognize the opportunity and be able to come up with a solution. So it's quite that simple. Another example for me personally is my own business. So I run a hedge fund, and Zach mentioned accredited investors. So that's an investor that has $1.1 million of liquid assets, not counting their primary residence, 1.1 and above. A qualified investor is double that. And all my clients are qualified investors. They have more than $2 million in assets that are basically liquid. But I took a look at my client base, and I have great clients, but I said, I want to change something. I want to really start to be able to bring on your ultra wealthy clients. I'm talking about guys and gals that have a net worth of at least $20-30 million and upwards. And I put it in my mind. I visualize, I'm a big, and Zach can tell you this, I'm a big proponent of visualization. What you put in your mind and you play that movie over and over and over again becomes a reality. It's true. And people say, oh, it's hokey. It's not hokey. It's a reality. Zach mentioned I had a TV show for 2 years, and I can share a story about how I got that show, but it all came from visualization. And so the same thing with this business, with my hedge fund business. I started taking a look, and I got together with my small team, and I said, I want to start focusing on ultra wealthy clients. I added to my sales team some former pro ball players, and I had them start targeting really your ultra wealthy clients. And because of COVID-19 hit, it created extreme. Those of you that follow the stock market, you will have noticed that since this COVID-19 has happened, it created extreme volatility. And I capitalize on that because I'm direction agnostic. I'll trade the market to the upside or to the downside. It makes no difference to me. But the volatility plays to my strength. So I had my team go out, and I knew that most people have their money put in mutual funds. They're taught to buy and hold, and it doesn't work. It really doesn't work to build wealth. And so I knew that a lot of people were losing millions of dollars, and I want to go out there and capitalize on that and help these people, but also help my business. So since COVID-19 hit, I'd say probably over the last 4 or 5 months, I have tripled the size of probably more than tripled the size of my practice. Just amazing. So when people say there's problems out there with the economy, I always say create your own economy. Take a look at what you can do to pivot, whether it's taking a look at your own business and enhancing what you currently have, or pivot it all together and starting a new business. And I'll talk about multiple streams of income in a minute, but you have to learn to not just look at the problem. Everyone looks at the problem. What's the solution? Give me a solution. Come up with a solution. And it doesn't have to be so original. It doesn't have to be some original thing that you're the first one to think of. It just has to be something that you're going to take, and here's the key thing, that you're going to take action on. That's what it comes down to. Nothing's going to happen if you just sit there and hope and you pray. You got to visualize. I pray a lot, but it comes down to taking action. That's a big difference in terms of how the wealthy think and how the average person thinks. The other key thing, going right along with that same mindset, is your belief system. And I'm sure Zach talks a lot about this. What is your belief system? When it comes down to real estate, I hear it all the time, and I'm sure, Zach, you hear it all the time as well. People will say, there's no deals out there. You can't get deals that are at a discount to make enough profit. Okay. The deals, I'll tell you folks, I live in California. The deals that I have made, I've done over, probably in the last, I've backed off from my real estate deals, but probably over the last, I'd say 24 months, I've done well over 150 deals. Not a single one of them were in California. They were all outside of California. None of them have been in Alabama, but Zach says good, but I've gone out to Maryland. There's a little county called Howard County, Maryland, where the price points, the ARV goes for anywhere between $800,000 to $1.1 million, and that's my sweet spot. It's always been my sweet spot. And the deals there's not as much competition as there is here in my backyard. So I'm not saying there's no opportunities in my backyard, because guys do deals in my backyard all the time. I've just chosen to focus on other areas of the country, using technology like what we're using now, Zoom and other things to be able to evaluate properties. But there's always opportunities. So it goes back to what your belief system is. That's that old saying is that if you believe there are no opportunities, you're probably right. If you believe there are plenty of opportunities, guess what? You're probably right. It goes back to that mindset. So when it comes down to creating wealth, and this is also how you look at money, how you view money. Some people have a disdain for money. I don't. I love money. And I have a great relationship with money. And the rich believe that being wealthy is a right. It's a right. We have the right to go ahead and that's the key thing, if we are willing to create massive value for other people, we have a right to become wealthy. That's plain and simple. So the other thing is that rich people believe that the quickest way to wealth is starting a business. I'm a big believer in that. Where you take a look, and I've had plenty of people tell me, and they're broke. I hate to say it, they're broke as a joke, and they're telling me, "Man, you like taking risk. You have 7 different businesses that you're running. You're a risk taker." And I look at them and I say, I think you're the risk taker. Because, I mean, it goes back to what your belief system is. If you believe that you are better off putting your faith and your well-being and your family's well-being in the hands of an employer, well, then that's your belief system. I'm not going to say it's wrong. That's not my belief system, though. My belief system is I know what my work ethic is. I know that I am relentless and tireless in terms of being able to go ahead and say, when I want to achieve something, I'm going to achieve it. So I always believe the quickest, the most secure way is to start your own business, period. And when you take a look at, Zach talks about real estate investing. I've been through a lot of Zach's courses, and he is making it as simple as possible for someone to cookie cut what he's doing and handing over the recipe and saying, here's what you do to go ahead and create wealth in the real estate market. But then it's a matter of, I heard him say there's some students who accelerate very, very quickly. There's others that take longer. It doesn't have anything to do with ability. It has to do with your action taking skills. Are you taking action right away? Are you the type to go ahead and prolong something and procrastinate and put things off? It's going to take you longer then. Real estate works. The question is, does the person learning the real estate, do they work? That's where it comes down to. The other thing is, a lot of rich people think that wealthy comes down to being savvy. Now, what does savvy mean? Savvy is street smart, where a lot of the average individual thinks that, wealthy people, they're a lot smarter than me. I can't do this because, look at Zach, look at Bruce. Those guys are much smarter than I am. That's not true. It doesn't come down to the grades or how you are academically. It comes down to being able to say, how street savvy are you? That's what it comes down to. I've hired a lot of people that were PhD levels when I ran technology companies that were a lot smarter than I were, but they reported it into me. So it comes down to how street savvy you are. When people say, well, Bruce, how do you become street savvy? How do you step up your game and increase your street smartness? Simple. You get around people that are street savvy. You get around people that are wealthy. You take a look at the industry that you want to be in, and you pick out the top people in that industry, and you hang out with them. You befriend them. You find a way to go ahead and work side by side with them. If it comes right down to it, and you have the opportunity to say, I want to hire this person as a coach, as a mentor, don't be cheap. Do it. Period. You do it because you're only being cheap with yourself. And Zach will tell you that. I mean, Zach has a different way of being able to approach people because he's more, coddling. I just tell people straightforward. If you want to be wealthy, you got to do things differently. And you have to be harder on yourself than anybody else is. And that's a fact. You have to take a look at being able to build out your team. And I heard him talk about that a few minutes ago it takes building a team. So when I've done heavy real estate projects, it wasn't me going ahead and taking a look and evaluating all the projects. I would go ahead and take a look. I'd get on to Zillow, and I'd take a look at the best real estate agents in the area. Because people would always ask me, Bruce, how are you getting into Howard County? Are you from Maryland? Nope, not from Maryland. How are you getting into Colorado? Are you from Colorado? Nope, not from Colorado. How are you getting into Arizona? Are you from Arizona? Nope, not from Arizona. But I get onto Zillow, I use the power of the internet, and I take a look and I say, give me the best agents in that area. And you may be thinking, well, how do you know the best agents? Numbers don't lie. You take a look at the agents, and you take a look at the ones that had the highest number of sales. Not the numbers of listings, but the number of sales. And those guys are banging it out. And not only do those agents, can they produce, they're going to help you to verify your ARV. They're going to help you to verify your days on market. They're going to be able to help you to verify what are the schools, who are the buyers. All these things, they're going to be able to help you to evaluate. They're going to help you. And check this out, folks. Even here I am living in California, and I'm working with different agents in Howard County, and I'm having them go ahead and do a walkthrough with my contractors to be able to, why am I having them do that? To be able to evaluate the property while I have it under contract and I have my 10-day grace period, to be able to have them go through and tell me, does this make sense? What changes do I need to make? What's selling in that particular area? Those are things, and that's not my experience. That's me being street savvy. That's me leveraging the experience and the talents of other people. So we're always thinking, how do we build our team? And I like building my team with A players. The other thing is, it's what I said before, is we look at making money as simple. Now, I didn't say easy, so don't get me wrong. I didn't say easy. I come from a hard-working family, and I sleep very little. I probably average about 4.5 hours of sleep a night. But what I'm talking about, it's simple. A lot of people think, oh, making money is complicated. That's because you make it complicated. It's not complicated. It's simple. And how do you make it simple? I said it before. You find somebody, you copy somebody who's already doing it, and you follow step by step by step by step. Pretty simple. And it goes back to that, the bigger the solution, the bigger the paycheck. The other thing is, and I said this before, is about we think about money in a non-linear fashion. A lot of people think about money in a very linear fashion. They figure that, okay, the more hours that I have to work, that's going to equate to more money. So that goes back to that person giving control to somebody else to say, this person is going to be able to tell me how much I'm worth. No one's going to do that. So it goes back to you being able to say, how much are you worth? And if you want to, and this is the thing I like about investing, period. I'll now use investing in real estate, because I know you guys, a lot of you are real estate investors. You take a look at projects in real estate. There's no right or wrong way of doing things. So I said before, my sweet spot in real estate was an ARV of 800,000 to 1.1 mil. Why? Because for me, I look at it and say, well, if I can do a bunch of smaller deals, and there's nothing wrong with that, or I can take a look at larger deals, provided there's a market for it, and there is, and being able to go ahead and do less deals and make more money, or more deals and make even more money. So, there's so many ways to slice and dice the real estate investing business. You pick out from the quiver what your niche is going to be, whether it's pre-foreclosures, whether it's foreclosures, whether it's rental properties, or a combination thereof. It really is up to you, but it all goes back to what your belief system is. The other thing, and this is really important, is that we believe that money is liberating. I mean, look at Zach. Look how relaxed he looks right now. I mean, money's liberating. A lot of people will take a look and they'll say, "Wow, money's controlling." When you take a look, I've had, when I worked as a police officer for the city of Fremont, I was to put my life on the line and do the things that I did. And I remember this one time. I was a young officer, and I remember my sergeant, Steve Osawa. I'll never forget it. We were doing a drug bust, and he says, "Officer Dinger, this is your opportunity to earn your stripes. You're going to be the first one through the door." And I was like pumped. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to be the first one through the door." Guns drawn and everything else. And I think back about that, and I think, what an idiot I was, putting my life on the line for $32,000 a year. Are you kidding me? But it was my mindset, it was the way that was my world. That was my world, and I wanted to change it. So I started reading different books. I started hanging around different people. I started going to different events and changing the way I think, and it changed my life. But it really, having money, it does create freedom. People always talk about it. They say, I said, what do you want? What do you want to become wealthy? I want freedom. I want to spend more time with my family. And I do that. I have 3 kids. I have a 9-year-old. No, I'm sorry, she's not 9. I think she's even watching this. She's 10. She just turned 10. I have a 10-year-old. I have a daughter that just turned 4. And I have a 22-month-old. And I'm such a big believer in creating an environment that gives them the biggest opportunity is that a lot of times I'll either bring them to the office with me or I'll work from home. And I spend a lot of time with my kids. I love being a dad, and I love watching them grow. And my kids are just a testament to when you have a different mindset, when you have a different belief system, when you have a different environment, you think differently, you act differently, your thought process is differently. I mean, if you talk to my 10-year-old daughter, she'll tell you, she goes, Daddy, that guy puts his money in the bank. That's just silly. And I agree. But where'd she get that from? She gets it from me. I said, the only reason you want to be able to save is so you can invest. You don't want to just save and save and save. What's the bank going to pay you? 0.5% a year? It's nuts, but people do it. People do it. Smart people do it. But they're not financially educated. That's what they don't understand money. So it comes down to what that belief system is. So if you want to be able to change your mindset, change your belief system, you got to hang around different people. You really do. And here's the last point I have on my belief system is you work for fulfillment. What satisfies you? Because I love spending time with my family. I love spending time with my daughters and my son. My son, I don't know if I told you this, Zach, 22 months old. He just started jujitsu. 22 months old. Doesn't even talk yet. I mean, he says a couple words, but I got him in jujitsu. And the instructor goes, well, hey, I don't have no limitations, Bruce. So if you want to enroll him, that's fine. But are you okay with him sometimes just standing around observing because he's not fully engaged at this point? And I said, I'm okay with that. I want him to grow up in this environment. My daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, she got her black belt in Taekwondo just before COVID hit. So she was 9 years old when she got her black belt. She's been doing martial arts since she was 5. My youngest daughter started martial arts when she was 2.5. And she's called a mighty monkey. She trains at Gold Medal in Foster City. And then my son just started jujitsu last week. But it's mind system. It's what the belief system is, So because, and I tell you this because for me to be able to get out of bed and at times break away from my kids to do what I need to do in terms of investing, it's got to be something, my friends. It's got to be something that fulfills me. It's got to be something that fulfills me. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. And so, and here's what I would say to you. If you find something that fulfills you, you put your passion into it, your heart into it, your soul into it, and you become one of the top players in the field. And that's where I'm sitting right now. And I'm always striving to be better. And once you do that, you will be rewarded with what we call uncommon wealth. Uncommon wealth. So here's my key principles. I thought about this, and these are things that I hold near and dear to my heart in terms of understanding money. Number one, you got to become financially educated. And I've met some very educated individuals, and I know you have too, Zach, where they even have PhDs in their field. But when it comes to finances, they don't understand anything about their finances. Not a thing. They have their money tucked in the bank. They don't know anything about what Zach's teaching you guys about being able to invest in real estate. And here's the other key thing that I chuckle to myself, that when people start off in real estate investing, they really just don't know. It's ignorance. It's not stupidity. It's just ignorance about understanding money. People talk about debt. People say, I don't want to be in debt. Shit, I want to be in as much debt as I possibly can. Bring it on. But it's good debt. So when you go out and when you're raising capital, you're getting in debt. Understand that you're getting in debt, but that's good debt. But think about this. People are always, I want to talk about this for a little bit, because people are always, this relates directly to real estate investing, and people are always shy about talking to investors that have money. And you shouldn't be shy, because they're not doing you a favor by loaning you their $200,000, $500,000. You're doing them a favor by giving them the opportunity. Their money needs your deal. You have to understand that. Again, it's mindset. Their money needs your deal. What are they going to do? Keep their money in the bank, earning 0.5% a year? Or lend it to you, put it on a project, and you're going ahead and putting them in first lien position. You're giving them back, 8%, 10%, 12% on their money. Who's not going to do that? And it's backed by real estate. So if something happens to the project, they own it for pennies on the dollar. You'd have to be a fool not to do that. You're going to keep your money in the bank? Come on. So it's understanding, it's your clients, your investors understanding about money, but it's also you understanding about money. When I sit down with investors and I have them invest in real estate, I make them bring their 2 years of. They say, "Well, I got $500,000 sitting in the bank." Okay, or sitting on the sidelines. Okay, bring your statements of what that money has been doing for the last 2 years. Why am I doing that? I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for them. So when we sit down at the negotiating table to talk about, I'm going to give them 8% on their money, they're not going to look at me and say, "Well, we need to negotiate." Well, what are you talking about here? You're earning less than 1% on your money right now. I'm giving you 8%. It's backed by real estate. So you have to, but being able to, in order to have those type of conversations, you have to have an understanding of money. You have to have an understanding of how money works. And how do you do that? Again, it goes back to not being cheap, but finding a wealthy mentor. That's why I love hanging around Zach, because Zach is just, he's so full of knowledge. And every time I have a conversation with him, I learn something. And I've been investing, as he said, since the 80s. But it's a matter of being able to, if you want to be better, you have to hang around people that have that can help challenge the way you think and take you to the next level. So find a wealthy mentor. You got to be able to take control of your finances. So this goes back to being able to go ahead, and say, you're not shredding up your credit cards. And people have they have a disdain for credit cards. Oh, I don't want to put anything on credit. Okay, that's because you're irresponsible. That's why you don't want to put anything on credit. If you're able to increase your credit score, and there's programs out there to help you increase your credit score, believe me, if you're able to increase your credit score and you're getting, especially in today's economy, you're getting 0% interest for 21 months in some cases, 21 months, 0%, free money. And you know how to use that money? I'll borrow money all day long. So, but it's a matter of being able to understand how money works. And that's part of taking control of your finances. And this is what I said before. You're saving. So money that you're saving. So when I go through, and this is something I would write this down, guys. This is something that I've always used. So whether you're working right now, whether you have a business right now, I use the 40-40 rule. 40-40-20. So have you guys heard of this before? So this is where you're taking a look and you're saying, okay, 40% is if you're in business but this is really for business owners, but even if you're working for somebody else, it holds true. You're going to take 40% of what you're earning and you're going to do what? You're going to pay Uncle Sam, because you don't want the IRS knocking on your door and saying, "Where's my money?" So 40%, you got to discipline yourself to be able to say 40% goes to Uncle Sam, paying the government 40%. Then you're taking 40%, and you're doing what? If you can pay Uncle Sam 40%, and you're taking 40%, and you're paying who? You're paying yourself. But you're not paying yourself to go ahead and go on a shopping spree. You're paying yourself to do what number 4 says. You're saving. You're saving with the intent to do what? To invest. You're saving with the intent to invest. And then 20%, guess what? That's what you get to live off of. Now, if you take a look at that rule and you say, "Wow, Bruce, after I pay Uncle Sam 40%, after I go ahead and part 40% and stack it for investing, and I'm left with 20%, I don't have enough money to live." Well, then you have a couple choices. You either cut back on the things that you don't need, or you go ahead and you find a way to earn more money. Simple as that. Force yourself to go out and earn more money, or cut back on those things. But you're saving with an intent to invest. You also want to, number 5, network with the rich and wealthy. And, social media makes it pretty darn easy to do that. You connect with different people that connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't have a lot of followers like on LinkedIn, but I haven't put a lot of effort into that, but up until recently. And I think I have like 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. A lot of them are executive level, VP level, business owners. But every time someone reaches out to me and says, "I want to connect with you," I typically send a response back and say, "Yeah, let's connect. Let's jump on a Zoom video call, because I want it to be a meaningful relationship." And there's people that I'll go ahead and I want to connect with. Godfrey Sullivan. I don't know if you guys heard of him before. I've connected with him. We've had numerous conversations. Was the chairman and CEO for a company called Splunk, publicly traded company. So it's a matter of being able to pick out who do you want to go ahead and connect with, and make every effort to offer them value, find out what their interests are, send them an article on your thoughts, or respond to an article that they put out, and start connecting and building your network with wealthy people. These could be your next investors, because then it comes down to doing what? It comes down to letting them know what you do. It's not just about, your knowledge. It's not about what you know. It's not even about, who you know. It comes down to who knows what you do. So as you're building out this network, and they say, they take a look, raising money is not that difficult. If you're confident, if you're going ahead and you take a look and they say, wow, if you're trained and educated on finding a good project as it relates to real estate, people are going to look at the project more than they're going to look at you. They're going to say, what's a good project? It's a good school. On greatschools.org, it ranks an 8 or a 9. The liquidity is pretty decent in that market. And you're teamed up with Zach Childers. That way, if you fall short, you're able to go ahead and be able to have somebody to go ahead and coach you through some of the pitfalls that the market may offer you. So it comes down with building up that confidence, but you gotta have a network as well. So it goes in alignment with being, not only are you getting educated, but you're also building out your network for future investors to fund your projects. Multiple sources of income. I'm a big believer in that. Real estate, stock market, Amazon business, my wife's hair business that we do now, which is really an international business now. No longer does she have, I've changed. I had her pivot that whole thing. I started that several years ago, where, before she had 8 stylists in there doing hair. And I said, you're not making any money doing hair. I said, where the money's going to come in? I said, the wig business, the cancer patients for men and women for thinning hair, that's $1 billion market. Learn how to go ahead and capitalize and serve that community. And that's what she does now. So it doesn't matter where they live. She still has customers come in, but a lot of the customers are, they live around the country, around the globe in some cases, and she customizes the hair for them. But it's a matter of being able to think differently. So multiple sources of income. Learn faster. I don't know what to say about that really, other than, you have to be able to maybe get up an hour earlier, read more. I'm a big proponent of reading, and I know Zach is as well. Actually, Zach used to have groups on Facebook. I don't know if he still does it, where he would dissect different books on mindset and wealth building and whatnot. And if you have a chance to join him on that, I would take him up on it. Take care of your health is huge, and this one is a personal one for me as well. Take care of your health, because you can make all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing. So it's important. And what I've also found is that as I lower my body fat, as I get in more shape, build more muscle, watch my diet, it goes in alignment with my business. My business thrives when I'm in top condition. So taking care of your health I think is key. And spreading the wealth, being able to go ahead and take a look and see who you can give back to. See if what charities you can give to, what organizations can you give to. Enjoy what you do. I said that before, there's going to be rough spots in any business. Real estate investing business is no different. But if you enjoy what you do, if you enjoy this segment of the real estate investing business, you will never stop. You'll have a purpose, and you'll find a way to get out of bed in the morning and do what you need to do. The biggest thing is believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You can't rely on other people, and a lot of people look for that recognition, and recognition is nice. But for me, there's no bigger fan of me than me. I'll tell you that right now. You have to believe in yourself, point blank. I talked a little bit about this. I'm not going to talk too much more about this, but building a tireless money machine. This is where you're putting that skill set to work for you. And it might be, when you get to the point, it's great when you're doing like the fix and flips, the residential redevelopments. But there comes to a point where you can go ahead and say, let me take a little bit of that money and start investing it into different areas of the country and building out my real estate portfolio, my rental portfolio. And now that's where you've gone ahead and created a money machine that's working for you even when you're not working. It's why I like investing in the stock market, because if you know what you're doing, if you know how to hedge the marketplace, and you can ride out the volatility, you can do certain trades in the marketplace that's making you money and you're not in front of your computer. A lot of people think, oh, Bruce is a day trader. There's sometimes I'll day trade the marketplace, but a lot of times my strategies last where I go ahead and make the investment, and it has a life shelf of 3 to 5 days, and that's it. I don't have to sit there monitoring the position. So I've been able to leverage my skill set to be able to live the life that I want to live. So think about when you're jumping into a business, think about how can you go ahead and build your business where it's working for you. The money is working for you. And here's the best investment, guys. People say, what's the best investment you can make? Quite simple, it's in yourself. I can tell you I've invested into the hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own education, hiring mentors, being able to fast track things. Because what people don't seem to understand is that when you're working with somebody who's already done what you want to do, you are collapsing timeframes. You're collapsing timeframes. So it goes back to you thinking, what's my time worth? Well, my time is worth a lot. So instead of me figuring things out, I want to go ahead and hire someone to show me the way. So that what I mean by investing is time, energy, and money. You find a mentor, you want to feel that you want to excel in, and you hire that person. And I'll leave you with this quote here. You know, your level, and think about this, guys, and you may want to write this down or screenshot it or whatnot. Your level of success will never exceed your level of personal development. Think about that, because success is something that's created by the person that you become. Think about that for a minute. Powerful, powerful stuff. Guys, I want to say it is a pleasure to go ahead and speak before you. And Zach, thanks for having me come out in front of your team. Appreciate it.
Oh man, look, dude, you dropped some pretty killer stuff. Hey, listen, guys, go to the chat box right now and just write one thing that like resonated with you or hit home with you right now. I just want to see. Jason King wrote in the 40-40-20. I love things that you said, the believe in yourself. I was trying to make sure everybody was listening, but I just want to hear what some people. What was something that you caught out of that was like, God, man, I got to listen to that. I got to do that. I got to implement that. I mean, Bruce, you know, it's one thing for us in our world, right, to feel like we're on top because we're only measuring it by the people we're around. Right. But to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations or in rooms with guys like yourself and other investment gurus and hedge fund managers, like that's an uncomfortable situation for most people because you said it in the very first slide. It's a mental shift. You have the right to be in that room. You have the right to have financial wealth, but we're not raised that way.
Right.
You know, like, we're just not raised that way. We're raised to say, oh, go to school, get a good job, and hopefully you'll retire one day. Not, hey, go and be around all. Oh man, I could go on an hour for this, Bruce. This is what I mean.
It's so true, and I'll prove something to you guys. And you don't have to say it. You know, I know that I think you're on mute, but just write it down and finish this sentence for me. You know, we go to school. We're told to go to school. Let's get educated, to graduate with good grades. Come out and what? And most people, if they're being honest, when we say that, when we say, hey, you know, you're taught to be able to go ahead and go to school, get a good education, graduate, get good grades, and come out and people say, and what? And get a job, get a good job. And how come Zach, no one says, and start a business? How come no one says that?
Yeah, because they don't live it. They don't live that model, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's like, you know, in college, your professors are telling you how to be successful, but they're teaching you how to be an employee. And look, I'm not saying anything's wrong with, you know, going out and becoming an employee. I think, you know, there's a great quote. Who says it? I think it's Les Brown, maybe. It says, look, if you're born poor, it's not your fault. If you die poor, it is.
That's powerful.
You know? Because you can't control how you're born in, but you can make the choices and the changes to change your financial destiny by the choices you make. And like you said, the way we think, how we change what we do. Look, the chat box is blowing up right now from your presentation, man. It's just, I can't even keep up with it. There's so many coming through. So, great job and go to work. Zach, you and Zach make me believe I can do anything no matter what age.
You can.
believe I am too old to start. Thank you. Mind blowing. Thanks so much.
Brother, I'm in my 50s and I got a 22-month-old. You ain't too old.
I know, right? I know. You're in your 50s with a newborn baby.
And I want more, Zach.
Braden says, to quote, "We have the right to be rich if we are willing to create massive value for ourselves." Brad says, you're actually helping the private lender. That was a big one, Brad. I'm glad you caught that. That's when I said everybody listen to that.
Yeah.
Katrina says, because their sons teach that in school, because they're being taught that in school. Someone says that, don't be scared, invest. How do I connect with Bruce in the arena of stocks? Randy says, you actually should talk to Randy, Bruce. He's right in your line. So
nice. Hit me up on LinkedIn then, Randy.
Yeah, look him up on LinkedIn, Bruce Dinger. Work with corporate America the rest is your life. Believe in yourself. Hire a mentor. Bruce, you rock. Great, man. Jeez, you blew him. I love you, man.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah, I like being able to come out and I wish we could do something, live in person, but under the circumstances, Zoom has become the new norm, so to speak. It's a new way of doing business, but I like being able to give back. I like, we all start somewhere. Doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, you all start somewhere. And the key thing is to get started. That's the key thing. You got to get started.
Well, and you said something else too, the visual. I don't think a lot of people catch. Hey, unshare your screen unless you have another slide, and we'll just go back to presenter mode.
Let me do that.
I don't know if people caught it or if they were paying attention, but you said something in the beginning that I till this day thank my mother for instilling this into me, and that was the visualization of your life. Like
huge.
Visualizing what you want, visualizing where you want to be, visualizing what next year is going to look like. And when I was young, my mother used to always say to me, "Son, if you can visualize it and you can believe it, you will become it." And she used to say, "Look, walk in a room with millionaires and hold your head high and your chest out and act like you belong there."
Mm-hmm.
And that was, my mother was never financially off. She was a struggling single mother. We grew up in a trailer park, but man, just those little things. I'm 43 today and I still remember that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that little bit of information stuck with me. And so I share with you guys, like, if you have your kids, like, start instilling those thought patterns with them. Like, start sharing, like, on it. Like with mine, I'm constantly talking to them about it. Like, hey, look, why would you work for somebody else? Have your own business. Why are you? Let's understand money. Let's see how money works. I take my daughter around our apartment buildings, and I sit in front of them and I say, now look, how many units are in there? There's 8, Dad. Okay, times that by 650. What do you got? Oh my goodness, what is that? That's what we collect in rents. Well, Dad, how do I get 100 of those? Right? Like, and she's 11, right? She's 11. That type of information wasn't shared with me until I was in my 20s. I just think that I was blessed enough to be around guys like Bruce and other high, net worth individuals that weren't just like, look at me and how much money I had, but they were sharing principles with me. Change your thoughts, think differently. You deserve this. You should be rich. They were putting all this in me, and I started thinking, you know what? My past does not control who I'm going to be.
That's right.
It does not control who I want to be or who I'm going to be. What controls that is me. And so, oh my goodness, I get all up in this, man.
It's true.
So I think it's big, and I know a lot of people, we don't always think about the mindset aspect of this business, but there's a lot that has to do with it. Simone says, hire your kids in your business, pay them up to $12,400 tax-free or tax write-off. Multiple businesses, you gave me confirmation. There you go, Simone, you paying attention? Oh man, that's cool stuff, man. Okay, got that. All right. Any other questions for Bruce? I know you got to get hopping, man. I so appreciate your time. I really, really do, man. And I appreciate our friendship too. So.
Yeah, likewise. I feel the same way, Zach. I mean, that's what the life is short, man. Life is short. You got to hang around the people that you want to hang around. You got to do the things that you want to do. I mean, doing your own thing, whether it's real estate investing or stock market or whatever it is, it's scary. It can be scary because you're not used to it. You're not from that world. But I think what helps is what I know helps is being around the right people. Being around the right people and knowing that, hey, they got my hand, they got my back, they're going to help me, they're going to guide me. That's the key.
So much, man. I always say it. With the right support, the willingness not to quit, and the ability to keep moving forward, you'll succeed. So, well, Bruce, man, I don't see anything else coming in for you. My friend from California.
All right.
I used to live there. Glad I don't anymore.
I'm going to be moving.
So I got another guy on here. I don't know if he's on here right now. I don't see him. Vic, he's out in California, and he's on here with us today as well. So, but Simone says thank you much. It really was motivational. God bless you. Thanks, Bruce.
All right.
See you, sir.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Bye now.
All right, guys. Wow. How about that? Yes? That's a little bit of an inside scoop from some wealthy people.